We brought some footage that has footage of superstars that haven't been announced yet, so people watching the pre-show actually get to find out sooner than those watching the actual roster reveal. So it's pretty exciting.
So get on Twitter and tell everybody ahead of the roster reveal. Let's get this party started a little bit early. So now, all right, so the first question is, you guys are coming out with a wrestling game every single year. Yeah, right. WWE 12, you guys kind of shook things up a lot. As you went from WWE 12 to WWE 13, what were your kind of goals this time around?
Oh, I think with WWE 12, we just felt like we laid a great foundation. We brought the new engine in, the new animation engine, and so it was a foundation for us to continue to build on for the
cover athlete. What is that process like? When do you guys decide that? Like, did you guys actually know you were going to do that even before 12 came out? Like, how do you figure that out?
We did, actually. We do have to plan it pretty far in advance because it takes a lot of work to go ahead and get all that great art together and to make those plans early on. So by the time 12 was coming out, Punk was already becoming a huge star. I mean, he had the big pipe bomb on that episode of Raw, and so that just obviously elevated him to more of a mass appeal type superstar. And so I think it made perfect sense for us to have him on the cover. I think
it definitely did. I think I told Corey at the time when the decision was made to go with Punk, because it was so early. I just said, man, I just hope he can maintain that momentum.
The edginess that the Attitude Era superstars had back then.
Yeah.
He kind of portrays that same thing. So we felt, boy, having him on the cover with the Attitude Era single, it's a perfect combination.
It's a great juxtaposition of attitude from the past versus the new attitude in the WWE right now.
Right.
Exactly. Yeah.
So you mentioned Attitude Era. Perfect segue. Look at you. It's like you've done this before. All right. Let's talk about Attitude Era a little bit. Not only are we seeing Attitude Superstars, as we'll see them revealed in a little bit, but and actually you're probably watching some footage of Attitude Era Superstars right now, but single player, Attitude Era. Tell us a little bit about that.
Where do I begin?
Yeah,
we've actually, we've overhauled our whole single-player story campaign this year.
Okay.
In the past couple of years, we did a Road to WrestleMania format that was really telling original stories that we've created with the WWE. We wanted to go a historic route and relive arguably the greatest era in all of WWE and wrestling history, the Attitude Era. That hasn't been revisited in 15 years. It had such great content and stories. And it's perfect because it brings back this nostalgia for fans that maybe obviously lived that area and watched that during that time and played those games. And also the new consumers that don't really know much about the Attitude Era. It serves as educational.
It's been a while. All three of us remember it really well.
Exactly.
But then I sit there and I'm like, that was 15 years ago. I don't even know what's going on. Yeah. Makes me feel old, basically.
Exactly.
Yeah, for all of us.
We were really excited to bring that back. Actually, relive those matches as they happen in the order that they do happen.
Okay.
And so we covered these 2 years that are taking place during the Monday Night Wars, where WWE was going up against WCW, and they had some really contentious battles back and forth. We focus on the WWE side of those battles and have you relive those main storylines that were going on with Stone Cold Steve Austin, The Undertaker, DX, all those main stories. You're reliving those moments.
Great.
And so it's over 60 matches that you're playing through that mode.
So now you guys are trying to relive the Attitude Era, right? This isn't like the Attitude Era as reimagined by the player at home, right? It's like very faithful. Is that kind of what you guys are going for?
Very faithful. We wanted to do it justice, obviously, and be very authentic to that period. And so you're going to see a lot of WWE footage that kind of recaps some of the background stories that were going on. We have cool cutscenes of those events that were unfolding during that time as well. And we have historic objectives that you're playing the matches, and we give you these objectives on a checklist that you're trying to check off and accomplish in the match.
Let's talk a little bit about that, actually, because I remember, one of the complaints that rose about at WWE 12 was how you script a match and how much control the player is given versus, that sort of thing. Can you talk a little bit about balancing that and what you guys are doing for WWE 13?
Well,
go ahead, Brian.
Well, no, that was, one of the things that we did, definitely heard about for Road to WrestleMania last year. A lot of players felt that a lot of control was taken away from them, by playing these matches, and they felt like, I was doing so well, and all of a sudden, I'm losing.
Lost it.
I just lost. It's like it just didn't really compute. So, what Corey's done with the Attitude Era mode is every match will play out a little bit differently, but we're still, like I said, we're maintaining that authenticity to the match that took place. But we have these bonus objectives that you can do to relive that match as it actually happened. But at the same time, we're still giving players the onus and responsibility of finishing the match on their own. So we're not getting, handcuffing them and saying, no, you are going to lose this in spite of however, whatever you've done leading up to the end of the match.
Right.
So we're giving players complete control and freedom over how they pursue and complete the matches.
And it's based on historic matches, obviously. So there are situations in which something happened, and interference came in.
Sure.
So we relive those and we tell those. But with the objectives, they're not mandatory. You can still win the match, but if you do the bonus stuff, then you see the difference in the cutscenes with someone coming out and maybe changing what happened at the end of the match.
I got
And
you.
let's be honest, you're going to want to do the bonus objectives because you get so much cool content as a result.
Let's talk about that in brief because I know you guys can't get into too many details. I'm sure those details are coming soon, but you just mentioned extra content.
Yes.
I'm thinking Attitude Era. Everyone kind of has their own definition of where this Attitude Era is. Depends. For different people, it sort of means different stretch of years.
Right.
So I know you guys have sort of found a way to maybe blur that line a little bit in terms of adding extra things in there. Can you talk a little bit about how you guys are getting around the fact that, in the core single-player mode, you guys are doing 2 years, but what else is there for people to discover, basically?
There's a ton to discover, and what's really great about the mode is that you're not just playing as one superstar throughout the whole thing.
Right.
You jump around, you actually play a lot of different superstars.
Right.
You're playing a lot of the main event storylines that were going on during that time, but we do cool bonus matches. We do matches that, hey, maybe you're playing an old SummerSlam matchup with The Undertaker, whoever it might be, but we had this bonus match that took place at the time.
And that unlocks, basically?
And that unlocks, if you're able to accomplish the objectives, you get that bonus match, you get to play with someone else, and you get that great content.
So by being faithful to the era of the time, you can actually unlock even more things for you to sort of explore from that era.
Exactly.
Absolutely, yes.
Okay, cool.
And we have over 100 unlockables in the story campaign, which
It's
is
a few.
a ton.
That's a lot.
It's a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit.
It's a lot. Definitely more than we had last year.
Yeah, it's a ton in there, and depending on if you're accomplishing these hidden objectives, you get those unlockables. So it's really fun experience.
I gotcha. So, Attitude Era, there's one man that sort of symbolizes the Attitude Era. We talk about CM Punk as sort of the modern era, but you guys actually have a second cover athlete, basically, this time around. Tell me about Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Stone Cold Steve Austin is our collector's edition cover athlete.
Yeah.
And it's a really cool collector's edition.
Very cool.
You get bonus in-game content. You get an alternate attire. You get a cool entrance where he came out on his ATV, which is really awesome.
You also get Iron Mike Tyson.
That's right, Iron Mike Tyson. And then the collector's edition comes with a autographed picture of Stone Cold Steve Austin, which is, it's hand autographed.
Yeah.
He spent a little bit of time doing that, I imagine.
Yeah. Like 25,000 he had autographed, so I'm sure he was getting some cramps in his hands there. But